So today we're going to try to do a drawing of Bruce. I believe he's the great white shark from Finding Nemo. This request came in from a past art student that I used to teach, Josh. And so I'm going to see if we can do it. So you can do this along with me. So the first thing we're going to do is, I'm going to turn my page just a little bit for a second. I'm going to do a slight arched line. Oh, I forgot very first thing. Which direction is my paper going? It isn't portrait, so it's not vertical. It's horizontal, so it is landscape. And you're going to work over here in the right side of our paper to start with kind of near the top, but you want to leave a few inches at the top so you're not touching the top of your page up here. And we're going to not touch the side of our page over here either. And we're going to do a slight arched line. Then that arched line is going to come down and curve this way a little bit. And then on this side, we're just going to come around and connect. I think I want that to go out just a little bit further. There we go. So it's not a circle. I don't even know what you call this shape. Has an arched line here, an arched line coming down at an angle towards the left a little bit, and then this one's a little bit more straight, but we want to have a nice curve here, and then it's kind of straight and then curves into that one. So I'm going to kind of clean up my lines a little bit. Might go over this a little bit darker for you guys. Remember to draw light. You are going to have to erase some of this because we're doing the basic shapes to get our overall drawing in, and so some of the basic shapes are going to get erased. So make sure you draw as light as you can. Don't draw as dark as I am doing that so you can see it. So the next one we're going to do is starting right here in the kind of the, I gotta call it the corner of his head. We're going to swoop down. I'm going to have to turn it again. I have a thing right here so my arm can't move where I want it to go. The camera's there. So I'm gonna have to turn it for a sec. I'm gonna swoop down and then connect like that. And it may seem like this part seems small, but you do want his head to be the largest portion of his body because he's a cartoon figure and it's the dramatic part is his face. So we do want that. Now we're going to do a slightly arched line. It's going to arch to the right a little bit, right in the center of his and come down. Actually, I want to move that over just a little bit. I have it just a little too far to center. I guess it is off center a little bit. Should be off center. Okay. It touches center down here, but it's off center up here. That's my hairy lines, my sketchy lines. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to add some fins. So where this body connects to the head, we're going to put a fin, and it just arches to the left, comes down, kind of arches into the right when you come back. Down here, slightly off the center line right here, we're going to do a fin here. And then I did a straight line angled down to the right, and this one's kind of a straight line, and then they kind of give a nice soft curve into each other here at the bottom. Then we're going to do one that comes off of his body, and it angles down towards your bottom left-hand corner of your page a little bit, and then you're going to come back up, straight line, and then kind of curve it in, and we want it sort of long and skinny at this point right here. Now we're going to add a couple more little fins. I'm going to put just a little one right here. I don't know what all the technical names are for these fins, but we're just going to add them anyway. Then we're going to do one more slightly bigger than those two, right in between these two. And it's going to curve again to the left a little, round it off that edge, and then curve inward and come straight. Now this is going to be his tail fin. And we want it to angle down to the left and slightly angled up to the left as well, just not as angled as the bottom. It's just a little bit off that would be straight. So it's just a little bit from straight. And I'll go over it a little bit darker in a second so you guys can see a little bit better. And then I'm going to follow the shape and add his fin. Now he has a little fin bump right there. Again, don't know what these are, technical names, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna turn my page in an angle again because I kind of draw that way and also because the camera's here, but I will straighten it out so you can see it. And I will make the lines darker for you in just a second. Okay, so there is a line that is gonna come, I'm actually gonna darken this line up just a little bit since it probably stays. Okay, and we're gonna bring a line right here, and we're kind of come somewhat straight, but not perfectly straight. And then we bump it up and arch it down. So it's gonna connect to the side here, and then it's going to go across. You might want to angle it actually just a little bit down. So I'm going to angle it actually up a little and then go down this way. And then this one's going to go up a little bit. And then it has an arch, but it doesn't touch the top of his head and stops. Okay, now off this guideline right here, I'm going to go to his left eye. And right in between this bump out and here, I'm going to draw a line that just kind of comes at an angle. Now right here, I'm going to take this line, curve it up a little, curve it up a little bit more than that, and then down and connect. Over here, I'm going to do a line that is kind of like a half of a, it almost looks like a seed right here, a really skinny football. It's kind of got a point at the top and the bottom. It's pretty straight. And then I'm going to add a straight line, curve to the right, and then go up and connect to that weird shape right here. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a circle. And it's not a complete circle, it's about a 3/4 of a circle. If I did a complete circle, it would have come out of the eye. So you can either very lightly sketch that in and erase the bottom of that circle, or do what I did and just do a 3/4 circle. There is another circle inside of that near the bottom right corner. And then there's one more on top of that in the top of it, of that inner circle. Hope that made sense. Now in this one, we're gonna do the same thing. It's about a 3/4 circle right in the center here. Then I'm gonna do another 3/4 circle in the center of that one. And then I'm gonna do a circle up in the upper part of that inner circle. So you have that. Okay, everybody got that far, kind of? Hopefully. I was gonna say you can pause it, go faster, whatever you need. Speed it up. Okay, now from this center line, I'm gonna draw a line that comes down and curves and stops. And then I'm gonna draw a line here that comes straight, and then a straight line that goes like that, to just off to the right. Now I'm going to give him some nostrils so he can breathe. And I'm just doing skinny little rectangles, one here, one there, on each side of that guideline, right? But not touching these lines here. Kind of close to it though. Okay, now we want to put in his big smile. So I'm going to start just off, probably in between where this point is here in this line. I'm going to come down. I'm kind of in between that. I'm going to start below this line. Hopefully this all makes sense. I'm going to start about right there. I'm going to come and I'm going to arch down just a little bit. Then I'm going to go over to the other side and stop. Now I'm going to start from that same point there, come down, follow, then I'm going to come up and stop. And I'm going to go past it here, and it just kind of is a straight line right there, veering off to the right just a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little edge to the mouth. Over here, I'm going to do a big open V shape for that edge of the mouth. And now I'm going to erase some things before we go any further. So I'm going to erase this guideline that ran through the center, kind of the center of his head. It's off to the right a little bit. And then I'm going to erase this side of his head because we don't need that there, that isn't how the body would connect. So I'm going to erase that line, and I'm going to erase my center guideline. Oops, I erased part of his mouth. Okay, now I'm going to put some teeth in, and they're just little V's. The top teeth on him are smaller than the bottom ones. You want a little gap in between, because in between that you're going to come in with the bigger upside down V's that would go in between. And now I'm going to add another sideways sort of V that's large, and it's going to come like this, and it's really opened wide, and it goes like that. Now next to that, I'm going to give him some gills. So the gills are going to be just little slits. It's like arch to the left, then you follow that same line as close as you can without touching, and you want to point at the top and the bottom. The next one's going to be close to that one but smaller, and then one more that's even smaller. Okay. And then we're going to add, let me think. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of my lines and erase some other things. So I'm going to make this a little darker now that I see that it's where I want it. I'm going to erase some of these little lines that are around it that don't really need to be there. I'm going to make sure this line goes up and arches, because it's that nose he has. So now at this point I want to make sure it goes up, arches above these two lines, curves, and comes down. And then this one. Now this right here, this is actually where we're going to erase. So we drew this weird little line over here I said that didn't really make sense, kind of a skinny football or seed or something. We're going to erase the outside line of that right there, so that this can come around and be his eyebrow or his brow bone. This one, we're going to bring it up a little bit further out because he's got a big grin. So those were just our original guidelines, and then connect it with what we already drew. We're going to come around, and then I'm going to make sure his fins are in there. Now this one would have a line through it because it's on the other side of his body. So I feel like my guideline is really showing through still. I didn't get it erased. Let me erase that a little more. Okay, hopefully you guys can see all that clearly. And then I'm going to go over this line again, and I'm going to curve it, make it a little more smooth. See how I waited to make my lines dark. So make sure you're waiting to make your lines dark. Now when we get to this point here though, I need to erase that because his body is attached to the tail. The tail is facing more forward, so you wouldn't see that line separating it. But on the bottom, I'm going to have that line go past this line a little bit. And then I'm going to stop. I don't want that line running through his fin here, so I'm going to erase that line that's running through it. Go over my other little fins here. This one I shouldn't have gone through this one. So this line right here, hopefully you guys are able to erase yours. I went over it dark, I didn't mean to. Shading it with colored pencils will help. We can go ahead and leave this line in here though. That one won't have a line through it, this one won't have a line through it, and that one will. Hopefully I'm not messing up the camera too much. Okay. And at this point, we're going to add a few more little details to him. So this line right here that we originally drew that was kind of a rounded open V on its side, we're going to now go in a little, then down. We're going to make points. Come up, make a point, scoop it down, make a point, and stop. Then we're going to add a couple lines right here. Oops, I didn't mean to touch the bottom, sorry. Let me turn my page, that might help me a little bit. There we go. And then we're gonna give him a line that comes down and it's another little V thing. Maybe he's got stripes of some sort, and another one right there. Can't remember what kind of shark he was. I swear he's a great white though. Okay, and then on this side, we're just gonna finish off, like if that little V on its side was connected on this side, there'd be a V there. And then we'll do one right here. And you don't have to add these if you don't want to. Whoops, these right here, you don't need them. It's just more detail of the character. And I'm gonna curve this a little bit right here, and I'm gonna put a little line right here so it looks more like he's connected to his body. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll pull it up, let you see. Ooh, see all that? Leave that there for a second so you can see it. Okay, now I'm going to outline I'm gonna follow along the edge of his fin without touching it. Try to keep it equal distance between your spaces so it's not going in too tight or coming out too far. That'd look a little odd. Then he's got a line right here that follows and then fades into his fin. He's got one right here that follows and will go down and fade into the tip of his fin. It doesn't go on the other side of this one or this one. It does though on this one, so we're gonna go up and follow, try to leave space in here, and it will on this one as well. Try to leave space here and here. Oh, this one should have a line right here. Little details, sorry. Okay, now on this one, we're gonna start right here and we're gonna stay right along, but slowly go out away from the side. And then stop, and then come back down, staying out away from the side, and slowly fade into the center. This right here, we're not gonna worry about because this is all gonna be shaded black. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this one, but I'm gonna start on this side. So I'm gonna start about right here, and follow along and slowly come out away from it. And then turn and following out away from it. I'm gonna slowly start going in until I connect. Okay, I think we got everything. So this is Bruce from Finding Nemo. Next, I'm going to show you how to shade him, so give him some color so it makes him look even more like Bruce from Finding Nemo. So I will be right back. Okay, so we're back and we're gonna start adding color to him. One way to figure out what colors you wanna do is just look up a picture of him online, like I did. And then, I'm zooming in on what I want. Whoops, what I want. I can't keep him zoomed in. I can't zoom in on him. Okay, there we go. On what I wanna focus on. And so I'm using colored pencils. I like Prisma, but any colored pencils will do. I decided to use a light blue for him and a really darker blue for some of the deeper spots in his color. Black, see, he has the black tips, and then there's the black in his eyes and in the back of his mouth. A little bit of white in case I mess up a little bit of red around his mouth, but you guys can choose whatever colors you want to do. I started to outline him all in black and I didn't like the way it looked, so I erased it. And this is what happens when you erase colored pencil. Kind of smears and it lightens it up, but it doesn't go away. So, if you do that, you can try as best you can to erase it, but, and then I'm just gonna kind of lightly go over it with my pencil and try to make it kind of be part of my picture. So again, when we shade, we use the side of the tip. If you use the very tip, kids tend to make really strong, definite lines and it doesn't look right. So I definitely recommend using the side of the tip. And to help me, I slide my hand back and I use my thumb to put pressure so I can get the right amount of pressure I want. And when I want it a lighter color, I won't push as hard. I do small circular motions or small little straight strokes. So right now I'm doing the circular because I want him to have a nice blended color look. I don't want him to be real like it's going in one direction. I want it to look like it's just nice and smooth. So I'm doing a a small circular strokes. And I recommend taking your time when you're doing color. Don't rush through it as fast as I am. I'm trying to do that so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me color Bruce in for hours. And I do have a little bit of the darker blue down around his eyes because that part would be in shadow, but I'll probably go back and work on that a little bit more. And so I'm going to go in with my darker blue and add some darker blue in here. And I'm going right over that lighter blue. And it's just giving it a darker value of blue so that it gives it a little more depth. So it's not just one solid blue color. I'm going to do that in around his eye too, because I want that really dark right in there. Okay, so here's the finished Bruce from Finding Nemo. I mainly used white, black, the blue of his body, and then a darker blue. White, if you're not white really doesn't do a whole lot of anything other than blending colors and smoothing out colors. You can add white on your paper, like add white here, but as soon as you add a color on it, it's going to turn to the lighter version of that color, which is fine. But if you're trying to like make this white, you just very lightly shade over it with black, very, very lightly. I even had to erase to try to get it whiter again. I didn't even go over the teeth because they're already white. Same with the white in his eyes. I just used my white to blend my colors together more. And just going in a circular motion with the side of the tip, I can just kind of blend away some of the definite lines. That's my dog trying to dig a hole at China. Okay. All right. So that's my finished colored pencil Bruce. Post yours in the comments. I would love to see them. Hope you guys had fun with it. Thanks, Josh, for requesting it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.